The sponsor has been identified, but unlike most television programs, the performer hasn't been provided with a script. As a matter of fact, I have been permitted to choose my own words and discuss my own ideas regarding the choice that we face.
Welcome to the Open Train of Thought podcast. I'm Sam Blue Sr. We believe that understanding begins with listening, even when opinions are different, which is why we encourage open dialogue on the issues that impact our community, our culture, education, politics, and our future. So thank you for joining us for this real perspective for real people. So sit back, get comfortable, and join the conversation as we take a ride on the Open Train of Thought podcast. Tonight, I'm joined by special guest Cornelius Kirk, a respected voice in leadership, personal development, and mentoring growth. Cornelius brings valuable insight into navigating life's transitions, maintaining healthy relationships, and pursuing purpose through change. As we discuss the separation of growth, we welcome his perspective on how personal growth can impact marriages, friendships, and the people closest to us. So please help me welcome Cornelius Kirk.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Glad you can join us. Glad you could carve out time to share your perspective. And if you just want to take about 15 seconds or more just to tell the viewers a little about yourself.
Yeah, man. I'm married. Say that again. Husband, very proud husband, father of 6, grandfather of 2. Everything you mentioned, man, my whole life is centered around growth, personal growth, but not just about me and my family, but for everybody that I know, my community. Because I don't feel like I'm winning, man, if we're not all winning. And
Exactly.
So I want us all to win. I want us all to grow and thrive. So thanks for having me.
I appreciate that. So what we're going to do before we get started is we're basically going to invite people to comment any advice or any questions that they may have of you. And so feel free, if you see their comment at the bottom of the screen, feel free to to handle that question as you see fit.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to dig right into it. So the first thing that I wanted to ask you is, when we talk about the separation of growth, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
The first thing that always comes, the first thing that comes to mind is mindset, because I think that's where it starts. Am I a person that believes in growth? Am I a person that believes in scarcity or abundance? It's all mindset, man.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing I think of.
Okay. So when we talk about the separation of growth, what, in your opinion, is kind of like how you determine when you separate and when you don't? Or does that depend on the person or the group of people you're around?
Yeah, I think every person's different, but speaking for me, I have a plan. So I'm not going into my day waiting for the day to happen to me. I already have a plan. I already have a vision. I'm very clear, and I'm say clarity. I'm very clear about where I'm going. So I know in the moment, Sam, where this is not part of the plan. And not that it's perfect. You can't be perfect in it, but that a level of awareness of where I'm going day to day, it's very easy to say no to things that can't go with me. So
Okay. So the first question I want to ask you is, at what point does loyalty become self-sabotage in a friendship or relationship?
yeah. So loyalty is important. First of all, as friends, loyalty is important. But the point of sabotage is when I start to betray my values for it. And you hear that sometime with family, where
Mhm.
things are not right, but they say, well, this is my family. Well, I don't think family gets a pass. I think you take the title of the person or the family off, and you got to say, wait a minute, is it am I being loyal to something that is dysfunctional?
Yeah.
And so I'm not about that. It doesn't mean that I won't show up for my people. Doesn't mean that I'm not down with you. But if you go driving off a cliff, I'm not loyal to that. So I think it's about standing 10 toes down to your values, man. And it doesn't matter who it is. So
Okay. So this is a follow-up to that. Is it selfish to leave people behind when your goals and vision outgrow theirs?
yeah, yes, and yes, it is. And I think to get to where you have to go, you have to be selfish. Not everybody
Mhm.
has the same desires. Not everybody has the same ambition. And you know this, coming from where we come from,
Yeah.
the first thing they say is, "Oh, you changed," or "You think you're better." Nah,
Yeah.
just different, just different. And so when you
Mhm.
see people thriving on certain levels, they have had to leave people behind that they love and care about. And a lot of times, honestly, it might be that I circle back and pick you up
Okay.
when I got what I need, versus we all down here struggling.
So when you say that, would that include not just people, but sometimes quote unquote the culture?
Oh,
Like,
I knew you were gonna ask me about the culture, man. I'm gonna dive deep into this one. First of all, when I think of the culture, I think of who created it. Who is
mm,
the leaders of the culture? Who are the ones that when you go to the bottom of the culture are standing there and said, "We built this," and then is it healthy? So
yeah.
100%, yes. The culture has to be dissected in a way. Is this the thing that is holding us back from where we could get to? And I think in the name of culture, it has in so many different ways. And so many people are again using the word loyalty. So many people are loyal to a culture that was never set up for us to survive.
Okay.
I'm sorry, to thrive. Let me use that word, to thrive. So
Okay. Because I know in some of my circles, I remember one day my son asked me, he said, "How many of your friends from high school are you still cool with?" And I said, "Well, out the seven that I hung out with, five, one's in prison for
yep.
life,
Yeah.
four are dead, and my boy Smoke retired from the Air Force, and I finished up in the Army." And we still communicate some, but we're not as tight like that. But we're both at a point where we're enjoying life. And I think when I see like celebrities, they talk about, I'm this, I'm that. They try to emulate the culture, but then they move to a fancy neighborhood.
Yeah.
When they do come back to the neighborhood to try to give back or try to do things, sometimes they get robbed. Even in some entertainers, they've been killed, by people who really trusted them. And I wanted to answer Cindy. Absolutely not. Selfish, in my opinion, is focus and determination, and your goals don't have to match mine. I'm just saying thine own self be true. And that she's repping the zoo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Tanya talks, some people are not meant to go where you're going.
Yeah.
And she definitely touched on that on our podcast last week, the red flag. So I definitely appreciate you guys chiming into that. So I want to ask you, so when you should friendships last forever, or do some people only belong in certain seasons of your life?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's there's nuance or layers to it, because I'm
Mhm,
still friends with some of my high school friends, but I don't talk to them every day. I don't even live in the same city anymore, and
yeah,
and I'm probably 8 layers of a man different than I was in high school.
mhm,
So the conversations are different. Our needs are different. So there's layers to that. So yes, we're friends, and I can pull up on them, and we can talk and communicate, but I'm still a
Mhm.
different man. And I think that so many people get stuck in, well, we grew up together, but that's not
Mhm.
enough. I think you have to audit your friendships for every
Yeah.
season or chapter that you grow into, Sam. And so this new chapter, my friendships may have to change. The rooms are changing I'm going in, the places, the way I think, my family, all those things come into play. And
Okay.
so a lot of people are loyal to friendships that hold them down.
Okay. So, can personal success unintentionally unintentionally create distance between you and the people you love most?
100%. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about my man Jesus, and it says that he was hated in his hometown.
Mhm.
They called him, they said, "Oh, that's the little carpenter boy over there," when he showed up talking about who he was. So those are people that were close to him. And you know this, and it happens in family, it happens in friend circles. When people start to elevate, the insecurities of maybe some of the people that you grew up with are triggered. And if they're not in a separation of growth, if they're not in a growth phase, it makes them feel less than. And it might not even be you projecting your success. It just may be the light of you shining on them, and they don't feel great about it. And I've experienced that. And I'm very aware of that. I'm very aware of that, and think I don't post a lot of my wins. I don't post it
Mhm.
because I know what it really does. People think, oh, as many people as you are inspired by you, just as many is gonna hate on you. And so I keep a lot of
Mhm.
that private.
And I think what you saying that there's a lot of people that will call themselves friends or call themselves your friend, but in reality, you're their opportunity. So
Mhm.
when people post on social media all of their accolades, their kids' accolades, just every single thing, down to the precise detail, you have people now reaching out, oh, could you be my mentor? Could you do this? Or I want you to help me accomplish this.
Yeah.
When you translate that, that means I want you to do this for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to grind, make it easy.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people aren't mad at what you have, they're mad that they don't have it. But everybody, as you said earlier, everybody doesn't have that grind. Everybody doesn't have that tenacity. But when it comes to, what I asked you about becoming distant, like I'll use my family for example, my siblings. I may not talk to my brother for a few weeks, sometimes a couple of months. But when we talk, we're on the phone for a couple hours.
Yeah.
My sister, we may not talk for a couple of weeks, but when we talk, we're on the phone 3, 4, 5 hours. Even my cousins in the Midwest and in Texas and South America, we may not talk for a long time, but when we do talk, we literally talk for hours.
Yeah.
So it's not no love lost because I think everybody, especially as we get older, for me, my separation of growth has has me growing in the manner of I will only give you the same energy that you give me. And that's how I'm growing. So my wife gets on me a lot because when some people, if I don't speak to somebody in over a year, I delete their contacts out my phone. I just like we don't have nothing to talk about. Like I do that like on New Year's Eve. Like we haven't spoken, so what else is there? And then sometimes I'll get a text or even a call, and I'll pick it up, or the text I'll say, "Who is this?" Oh man, it's a little, I'm like, oh, I deleted your number, so I'll put it back in. I'm up
Yeah.
front with it, and I let them know. But then also when people call me, if it's been a long time, I'll just say what you need.
Mm.
And most of the time they're like, "Oh, no, no, I'm just calling. I'm just calling to just to catch up." Okay, well, I'm about to cut some grass right now. Let me real quick, real quick. I got an appointment with the VA. So what, like And then I'll tell them, you should have led with that. Like, you're
Yeah.
calling me because you need something.
Yeah.
So that's the thing where my separation of growth in this season is about returning. I'm being reciprocal with my energy. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm man. First of all, I love the point of leading with stuff versus like we say, beating around the bush. You don't have to do
Mhm,
that with me. If you and if you're gonna ask me for something, which I don't mind helping people, Sam. However, don't call me and every time you call me, you need something. I need you to legitimately call me and check on me. We need to have a relationship. And I understand some people, you're not going to do that. But I love the upfrontness. And that was something that I didn't used to do. But because I'm trying to do things and build something of substance with impact, I don't have time. And that's no disrespect. Like I see why really successful people, they don't deal with
mhm,
everybody. You can't and then have family
mhm.
or husband and wife. I don't have time for it. And so I'm just like you. It's no disrespect. It's just that I don't have space. I don't have bandwidth for it. And so
Mhm.
I'm very upfront about it. I post about it. And so I kind of give people a heads up that that's what it is.
Yeah, and for me, sometimes it gets to a point where my wife will say, "Stop being mean." And I tell her, "I'm just being honest." Like, people that know me know my personality. Um, I'm the most stern with people I care the most about.
Yeah.
If you don't wanna know the truth, don't ask me, because I'm showing you love by telling you the truth, being upfront. If I think it's a bad idea, I'm gonna tell you upfront it's a horrible idea.
Mhm.
And but not just tell you that, but give you the reasons why. And
Mhm.
then, some people will walk away. Oh, Sam just hating because he ain't come up with the idea, and I'm not even gonna let him try to invest. I'm like, I wasn't about to invest. That's because I know that person is just was calling either to get an investor
Yeah.
or to get a shortcut. And again, this has been a season of transition for me about the reciprocating that energy. But before I ask you the next question, Tanya Talks, y'all make sure y'all look up Tanya Talks on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. She's very insightful. She says I get more support from strangers than the
Mm.
people that know me that are close to me. And
Mm.
that's so true. Like, it's
Mm.
almost like everybody is like ride or die. And then especially when it comes to relationships, you may have a group of women that they hang out, they do their Friday girls night out, but then one of them get into a relationship and it's a serious relationship, one of them gets married and the other one's like, oh, they don't care about me no more. They're in a whole different season.
Yeah.
Being single is completely different from being married. Like, when me and when I proposed to my wife, for example, the first thing I did was any number in my phone that there was like a romantic interest, I deleted them.
Yeah.
Like, I deleted them off Facebook, I deleted them on Instagram, I deleted them out of my phone, and a couple I even blocked because I don't think they probably wouldn't have accepted just me
Yeah.
removing the number. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that, when we get into that season, we have to definitely understand and own. Personally, we have to own the season that we're in. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really big on seasons, and I'm really big. I used the word audit earlier. I sit down like you do at the beginning of the year, and then I do it quarterly, and I look at some key areas in my life. Friendship is one of them, and
Mhm,
I'm the same as you. It has to be a two-way. And I know that's
mhm,
not perfect. It's not gonna always be, you putting in and I'm putting in equally, but I look at the whole picture. And if it's always me calling or always me pulling, always me supporting, then that's not a
mhm,
friendship, right? And so yeah, it's man, it is seasonal. Very few people, friends, are gonna go your whole life and change with you as you change. Or like you
mhm,
said, when you get married, that's a whole different lifestyle. And
Yeah.
a real friend would understand that
Yeah.
because it takes a lot to support a family. It takes a lot to have a thriving marriage. And so a lot of times maybe single people don't realize that. And so that's why it's, I have some single friends, but not that I really spend a lot of time with.
Oh yeah, same here. I have single friends, but if they want to hang out with me, come over and watch me cut cut grass or yeah, I love my peace is the yard, like just
Yeah.
sitting out there. So if
So
you want to,
I saw you aerating. You put up a post about it. I saw that. I saw you
oh
putting that
yeah,
all over.
that's
Yeah.
see, I'm not. I don't mind. I don't mind. We talk about manifesting in silence,
Yeah.
but to me, I want everybody to have an amazing yard.
Yeah.
I just that's my passion now. I love when my wife is able to go out there and just lay down in the yard. Like people drive past our house and they'll see us laid out in the front yard, like barefoot,
Yeah.
and they're like, you know, how do you do, how did you get your grass like that? So I try to share the knowledge because I want everybody in the neighborhood to have a decent yard. So I don't to me that's not an accomplishment. To me, it's a duty to have a better yard than the neighborhood ops. That
Yeah.
always peeking out that window when I'm cutting the grass. So I think that, what I want to ask you is how do you know if someone is supporting your growth or secretly replacing it? Like what are some flags that you've realized in your experience?
Well, first of all, you're not. I want to go back to something you just said,
Yeah.
and the thing that I get from you is you're not a gatekeeper. You're willing to
Mhm.
give out information if it helps people, and I love that. I think a couple of the things that are very important to pay attention to is language.
Yeah.
I know we're busy, but if you slow down and you listen to the patterns, I'm a pattern person. If you
Mhm.
if you around me and you walking different, why are you walking different? If your tonality, the
Mhm.
last 10 times we talk, if your tone's off, I'm gonna catch it.
Yeah.
If your language is off, I'm gonna catch it. If you posting something that's a side eye, I'm gonna catch it because one of my love languages is paying attention. And so I think those red flags are always there if you pay attention. But I think a lot of times what people want to
Mhm.
do is they want it so badly that they're willing to invest in situations that were never going to be great. They were never going to be great. But you just hope that it works out and then it doesn't. And then you're mad about it when the red flag, like as somebody talked about earlier, it was there day
Mhm.
one. You should have never been in that situation. So I'm really big on that, man. I look at celebrities, I look at friends, and I learn. I try to do my best, Sam, to learn from other people. I don't want to step on those landmines if I don't have to.
Mhm.
So
So, when I ask you, how do you know if someone is supporting your growth or secretly resenting it? One thing I've realized is that as I get older, the the world gets smaller,
it does. It does. That's
and
good.
I always hear when a family member is talking about me in a negative way, it always comes back.
It
Like
does.
I always know when I go when I go to a particular city, if people have talked negative about me, people can't wait to tell me so and so said this, they said this, and they said this. Like, so to me, we're at a point now in life, we don't even have to try to sense it.
Yeah.
People can't wait to tell us because they want us to dislike somebody else that they feel that we were cool with. Some people like that division, so they try to promote that. But I use it as a tool. Have you ever had a situation to where someone told you about someone that was dogging you behind stabbing you in the back and smiling in your face?
Yeah, I have, and it's a difficult situation because first of all, I don't do it. I don't move like that. So
Yeah.
when I hear it, two things come to play. First of all, what did you say? Did you defend me? Because if somebody
Mm-hmm.
comes to me talking about you, Sam, I'm gonna be like, yo, so why are you telling me? And then, next conversation, you'll be talking about me if you're talking about Sam. So I'm just really big
Exactly.
on, yeah, man, you just know that's what it's gonna look like. And so I don't play that game. I don't talk about people. You're not gonna hear your name in my mouth unless it's something positive. Other than that, I don't give
Mm-hmm.
my energy to that kind of thing. I don't leak my energy on those kinds of things, man. So I shut it down. That's me. I'm the shut down guy. Like,
Yeah.
even so, and Sam, I shut down things, I think, before they even come to me. Like, yo, I know
Mm-hmm.
Kirk. Like, I know Kirk not even going, I can't go to him with this. He don't move like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a
Okay.
way that I keep a lot of my peace, is I shut it down.
Okay. So have you ever had to choose between protecting a relationship or pursuing your vision or your purpose?
Yeah, I have. I have.
Mm.
And I've had to, I've done both, right? I've stayed in the relationship,
Mhm.
and when I should have moved on. And there was times that, so I've done both. I've stayed in a relationship. I didn't go into the vision that I knew I should have. And
Yeah.
there's other times where I've cut off the relationship and did what I was supposed to do. And in most cases, man, like, people who are supposed to go, and I think Tanya talked about this, if they're supposed to go with you, they're gonna add value along that journey.
Mhm.
It won't feel like you're pulling them. I'm really big on alignment. If they're in alignment for the next chapter in your life, it's going to feel like it. If they're
Mm.
not, it's not gonna feel that. It's gonna feel exhausted. You're gonna feel heavy. You're gonna always be at odds. It's gonna feel like chaos. But when it's in alignment, it'll have order to it, and that's very simple. And I don't think enough people pay attention to, is it in order? It's
Mhm.
simple. So that's how I move with it.
Yeah, so when those friends stop growing, should you help pull them up or just move on without them?
Depends. So I think it's case by case basis. I mean, your friends. We all know our
Mhm.
friends, and so I know which friends have the capacity that really want to get in, and they want to do it. And I know of friends that, like you said, that just want to be pulled along and there for the journey. They want to see what opportunity they can get for you, and
Mm.
that's, I don't. So, to answer that question, when we talk about advice and unsolicited advice, I used to give it all the time. I used to just want to help everybody. And I looked around, I was like, man, wait, they're not using any of my advice. I'm over here exhausted. I'm not working on what I should be working on because I'm trying to help everybody else. Will I help people?
Yes.
100%. But I don't give unsolicited advice. You got to come to me. You got to want to, like for me, when I act, like, if I come to you, Sam, I'm like, yo, I need your help with something. I'm going to add
Mhm.
value to you first. I'm going to show
Mhm.
you that I'm not trying to just exhaust what you're trying to do. I don't want to do that. I want to show you, like, yo, I'm here to learn. I want to get better, but I'm not going to just take. You're going to feel like, oh,
Mhm.
okay, Kirk, oh, we having dinner. Okay. He washed dishes, or, he cleaned the table. I'm not going to just sit there and eat your food and just go home. And a lot of people
Mhm.
do that. And that's not the kind of friendships I want to have.
Oh yeah. Cindy says alignment is everything. And Tanya says they will suck your energy if they are not supposed to be around. That
Yeah.
is so true. But one thing I wanted to reiterate on what you said or piggyback off when you said you sometimes would, I guess, volunteer too much. My wife has gotten on me because I have the delusional mind that everybody wants to work as hard on something as I do. So when I see someone, like, I'm the type of person, I feel everybody should be an entrepreneur. I don't feel anybody should work for anybody. Everybody should be an entrepreneur. That's just how I am. So some people will come to me and they'll ask me certain things. Then they'll ask, like, they're probably digging for something else, but I just offer it all. Like, I give them the whole layout of a business plan of all this, I type all, like, I I spend all this energy. No, they take that because I think at the end of the day that's what they're expecting. But seasons change. Once my wife began to open my eyes, where you're being too nice. Everybody don't want to work for themselves. Everybody don't want residual money coming in without them lifting the finger. Some people are built to grind. That's just it's their nature, whether they admit it or not. That's what some people are built to do. They have no initiative, so they need to be told from a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 everything that they need to do throughout the day. So I've come to that conclusion. Like I remember helping someone out a few years ago. Did a business plan and everything, and recently they contact me out the blue and asked basically for the same thing. And I asked them, what has changed from you then to now? And they couldn't answer that. So that told me nothing. So I basically just told, look, it's gonna take some hard work. Like you just gotta research and find yourself. And it's not gonna be for me. Like I've already expended hours and days of energy, and I don't want anything in return monetarily. My monetary gain is you becoming successful. Like our son doesn't have to buy us a home or doesn't have to buy me a brand new Real More, the Hudson Star that's made in Indiana. Um, just in case he's listening. He doesn't have to buy me that. I don't expect that. But if he does, that's fine. But I give him information. I give him gems. I plant seeds because I want him to thrive. And when I see him buy a home or I do something, that's my payment. That's my fulfillment. When I see my wife knock something out and it's something that she asked for my help in doing, once she accomplishes it, my payment is seeing her happy. And I think that's where a lot of people, I think every relationship, whether your circle of friends, all that, everything should be everything should be transactional. That's just how I am. It doesn't have to transaction doesn't necessarily have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be dollars. It's positive energy, and that's Cindy says, I wish everybody lived up to your positive perspective of people, Sam. Too many freeloaders. Exactly. That's how I feel. Is I can't stand users. I hate users. When if I see somebody out there using someone else and it don't have nothing to do with me, I literally despise that. I despise laziness. That's the one thing about me. And if I say something, I'm gonna say it to their face. Like you're a user. Like don't ask me for ish because you're a user. Use somebody else. What do you think about that?
Everything you said is spot on. I love the word. She put up freeloaders. And there are so many people
Yeah.
that just want to go for the ride. They don't want to do the work. And so you started with the business plan that you gave out years, I think it was years ago. And
Hmm.
somebody comes back and wants the same information, but hasn't moved the needle at all for the information you already gave them. And so
Hmm.
that's just that is a tale of a lot of people. You also mentioned entrepreneurs, and not everybody wants to be that, and so they want to work in somebody
Hmm.
else inside somebody else's dream, and that's okay. But I feel like in the world that we live in today, you almost have to have maybe a second or a third stream of income to even to live this certain lifestyle that, depending on where you live, your zip code. But I know where we live, it's not cheap. And so I
Yeah.
think being able to build something from nothing, especially if you have a family, and maybe be able to give it to your family, I love that. And then the last thing you mentioned was the happiness that comes from somebody else's success. That doesn't
Hmm.
have to be them giving me anything, but the joy and happiness that can come from somebody just realizing their dreams. and
Mm,
knowing that you play, even if you played a small part, even if it's just words of encouragement, like
mhm,
that's real. And I know that people, they need it sometimes. They need to hear, hey, yo, you can do this. Everybody's been overlooked.
mm,
Not everybody, somebody Tanya said it earlier, not everybody's gonna support you. Some of your support's not gonna come from people you know. It's gonna be from people you just met who don't look like you, who don't sound like you, who might be another
mhm,
gender. Don't overlook that blessing, because some people really come into your life at this moment and are willing to help you.
mhm.
And so everything you said, like, I don't do freeloading. Like, yo, I don't even, if I see you, I saw Chris Rock had this joke. He said, I'm willing to help you if I see your car stopped on the side of the road, but you just sitting in the car. He said, I'm gonna keep
Mhm.
going past you. He said, if you ain't out trying
Yeah.
to start pushing, I see you trying to push, I'm gonna come out and help you. And that's just a great analogy to doing your own work.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I just think, that's if there's anything I can say I despise, that's what that's what it
And
is.
can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
let's let's 10x it if it's a man. And I'm really
Mhm.
a lot of my work is centered around speaking into men, because I feel like they're the backbone of the family. Not to say that women aren't valuable, they are, but when I look at a lot of the issues in the family and get to the root of it, it's
Yeah.
it's a man it's a man it's a man there not doing what he's supposed to do.
Oh, is I feel that same way. I recently had some friends going through some things, and I basically said, "Look, you got to man up." I said,
Mhm.
"At the end of the day, you are supposed to protect your house."
That's right.
And when I say protect your house, I mean your wife, your kids, their well-being. Now, I say I'm not talking about making sure she got red bottoms and a Birkin, because that's trying to keep up with the social media stuff. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the peace of mind, the security. Like I would like to hope that my wife has a security knowing that um if something drastic happens, she know I'm going to be on the grind to make sure that all the bills are paid, shelter, food, clothing. Like the bare essentials. Yeah, we may not have no Lexus 500 LC, or anything like that, but hey, we don't have to worry about if the world ends. COVID happened. We're not dependent on where on those things right there. And I just think that men, when you say men times 10, this times 100. I know situations where there's women going out grinding all day, and her dude is sitting at the house just on PlayStation, or like just literally not doing anything but got the hands in their pants and other hand on the remote. But at the same time, I can't hold everything on him because she's putting up with that. It's almost like when someone talks about, oh, I got a deadbeat father. I have to say, well, you
Yeah.
chose that baby daddy.
Yeah.
To have a child with. So it's not like any judgment or anything. It's just facts. And I just think like that's why it's so important when I see some women like they get up and they leave the fold. Let's say they have a child or something and they go off with this mentality. I don't need nobody. I don't need to, I can make it on my own. Especially if you have a son, there needs to be positive men in that son's life. Like if I had a daughter and something happens where that visitor comes, monthly, and it happens for the first time and I see a lot of blood, I'm calling 911 like I'm about to pass out. Like I I've been to war, but I don't know how to deal with that.
Yeah.
So it's certain things, but I know people that that raise young men, but they always had positive men that recognize that they had role models to suck like a sponge on how you do things. And that's the difference. It's not somebody, I was speaking to, this was years ago. I was speaking to a young lady and I was telling her, like, make sure you just have a positive male in your son's life. Put him in basketball or something. And she's like, well, I don't even like the coach like that. I said, I'm not talking about you dating him, but you need to have positive males in his life. When you win games together, you lose games together. As men, that coach is showing them how you motivate the team to pick them up. So when I see somebody, you said times 10, it's times 100 for me. If I posted something, I got so much flack on it. Facebook one time, I said, if you're a man and you wake up broke and you stay in the bed, then you ain't a man. You just a broke Negro. Like, I'm just that's the thing. And Cindy says the village is fundamental, 100%. So that's what I think. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. And I know Cindy's family, the kinfolk. I know gators, shoehorns. I didn't know too much about shoehorns until Cindy's father educated me on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have all the gators, but next thing I know, I go home and I put shoehorns, cedar shoehorns in all my shoes.
Yep.
Even the sneakers. So, and it's just certain things that men are supposed to mentor men at all times. Always supposed to set the example. And that's why I think at the very beginning, when you talked about the culture, sometimes we have to leave. And I think Kanye West got a lot of flack for it. He was like, I don't believe in the culture. What, being late, CP time? It's like, it's a culture all negative, so I'm not sure if you heard that comment that Kanye made, but he was like, he hates black culture because it's always related to something negative or not good enough.
Yeah. So, first of all, Kanye, he gets a bad rap because I think
Mhm.
I think it's the way he says things,
Yeah.
and I think not like you said earlier, not everybody's ready for the truth. And
Mhm.
so, again, going back to black culture, I'm not going to do something just because it's culture. Is it healthy?
Mhm.
Or is this, like we talk about rap music. We all grew up on rap music, right? I
Yeah.
know, but can we be honest about some of the things that the lyrics, some of the women, the money, some of the things that just weren't good for the community. But because it was wrapped in music, it's okay? No, it's not okay. And if we can't call those out, especially as men, if we can't call those out and say, yo, this is not good for us as a community, while we have other communities, other cultures in a 5 mile radius, and they're building infrastructure and thriving, and
Mhm.
usually off of our money because we're consumers.
Mhm.
We have to talk about these things. We have to talk about why our dollar leaves our neighborhood in 6 hours and theirs stays circulating in their neighborhood for 30 days. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so if you don't have those conversations, how do we ever get off of stuck? And so
Yeah.
as men, like I'll tell you this on here now, if you come at me man to man respectfully,
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to what you have to say because I want to get better. I want to see us all get better. But a lot of men don't have that level of accountability and respect for each other. And we need that in our culture.
Yeah. One time, I asked a young man, I said, do you care about what people think about you? And he said, no, I don't care what nobody think. I'm gonna be me. Don't you do you care about what people think about you? I said, yes, I do. I said, because that allows me to do self-reflection.
Yeah.
I know I'm not perfect. There are certain things that I can improve. So I use those times when I get somebody upset or something. I'll do a self reflection, like, is this something I can fix? Is my attitude? What could it be? If it's something I can fix, that's something I know I need to work on. But if
Yeah,
not, I'll keep moving. But I tell people all the time, I care about what people think about me because that allows me to self reflect on on how I fix this imperfectness.
yeah, yeah. I like that. So she brought the village too. I don't want to skip over that. We that is so important,
Hmm.
especially with all the brokenness that we have in our culture. One of the things I feel like when we were thriving, it was because we had a village. We had, if there was a single mother or elderly, they had people around them to support. Now I feel like we don't have that to that level, and it's really hurting us. And then she has a comment of we don't support our own race as a culture, and we don't. And I know why. I think we all know why. I think there's some
Hmm.
healing. There's a lot of healing that needs to happen for us and to us till we get to ground zero almost of who we are, our identity
Hmm.
as ourselves. And a lot of that was systematically done, but you can't just go get money and buy new things and it fixes it. It doesn't. And we keep seeing
Hmm.
that pattern play out. And so I'm really big on just like taking care of each other. And that's not just a money thing. Sometimes it's just words.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's and you said this earlier, sometimes it's tough love. Like, yo, I don't
Hmm.
agree with no that right. You out of pocket right here. And I feel like we're only just holding up mirrors to each other. So yes, I do care what people think of me because Sam's holding up a mirror to me and like, yo, your behavior was out of pocket. Everything's okay.
Hmm.
So that's and I'm 52 and I still allow other men to check me. You don't outgrow that.
Yeah. It took me 40 years to learn when to be quiet and listen to my wife. Like, sometimes she just needs a vent, and it took that long for me to learn that. But I want to ask you, with talking about this, what's harder, outgrowing friendships, ending a relationship, or realizing you've become the person that others are leaving behind? Like, you're the one who's not growing.
I would say ending friendships.
Okay.
That I mean, I would say that's probably the hardest, especially if you do it like how do you do it? Is it a conversation you have, or do you just delete and move on? And you've already mentioned that you let people know this is what it is. So that's difficult because not everybody can handle that on the other side. So I would
Yeah.
say that's difficult, but also getting left behind. Um, I don't I can't remember a time where that's been my case, but but if it was my case, I would self reflect like you said earlier and figure out what I need to fix because I want to thrive too, and there's some people out here thriving, and I want to thrive
Hmm.
too in my life, and it's bigger than me. This isn't even just about me, man. Like I'm married, I have kids, I have grandkids. They're gonna have kids. I'm trying to build generational stability, which means I can't stay the same.
Oh, definitely. For Tanya, she said it's ending friendships. And when it comes to ending friendships, it's one of those things that it hurts initially, but we all get over it. Like, if you're on your grind or you're focused on something, that you will come to the reality that that wasn't a friendship to start with. It was an opportunity. You were the opportunity. They needed to sap. I think Tanya said it earlier. They sapped your energy.
Yeah,
They use you to motivate them. They use you to mentor them. And once they get it, that's when you begin to grow. And I think I on the last podcast, the red flag conversation, I talked about in the years I've been on this earth, I've been 3 or 4 different personalities.
mhm,
And to me, that goes the same way when it comes to friendships. Friendships take a whole people go off to college, people go in the military, people go off and you come back and your character, the way you are is determined by your experiences. So if I choose to stay back on 7 Mile or, you know, in the hood, and I don't see anything else. So I become stagnant. I don't grow. Like there's a show called The Shy. And right now they're going through something to where they're like, man, I need to get out of Chicago. I need get, and the other dude is like, no, I'm staying here. This is all I know. You know, this dude trying to kill you, and you trying to say, this all I know. If it happens, it happens. Like some people are stuck in that and they just don't know how to break those chains. And I don't think it's necessarily from, to me, social media has hurt us more than anything else now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not these, it's people trying to, people jealous of other people. Like me and you are guys. Have you ever in your life, when you talking to the fellas, man, I just met this girl and she got 2 Birkins, you know, or man, I met this girl and she got these red bottoms. Women don't get those things to satisfy or to
Nope.
encourage men. They
Nope.
get it because they see other women.
Yep.
I said one time I was you go to the jewelry store, right? And you'll see they have the mirror. And when they'll have the woman try on the ring. And what is the one move? And people can comment if they agree or not. But what is the one move that women do right after they put that ring on? They look in the mirror and they do like this.
Mhm.
Because they want to see how the ring is gonna look to other people.
Mhm.
That's where these Birkins, that's where all, you know, and when a lot of politics happened last year, the Chinese people spilled the beans.
They told you.
They said we make them here in China. We make Prada, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. It's here, and all we do is send it to France for them to put that final stamp that says "Made in France." So legally, it was made there.
Mhm.
You know, but I'm like, we have to. Some of us as men, we do deal with social media like that. We do get that. We give that same energy to try to be like other people that we see. But I think we all have. See, Tanya Talk says, she says hush, but I know she got a Birkin or two.
She must have
I'm,
them.
but she know I'm messing with her. But I just think it's one of those things that we have to stop. Social media it has everybody trying to do so much. And
Yeah.
when it comes to like growth, instead of growing, some of us, social media is that's our motivation to like be like what's in the picture, what's in that movie, what's in that clip. And
Mhm.
once we do achieve that, we're like, I still feel depressed. I
Mhm.
still feel anxiety. I still like it didn't cure anything because instead of doing something for yourself, you was just doing it to be like the Joneses. You know,
Yeah.
there's that saying, don't let the food on your plate get cold worrying about what's on my plate.
Mhm.
You know, and I think that's what when we talk about the culture, I think a lot of that is like, you know, when you talked about um like the dollar leaving the community. Oh, Tanya says she's a simple lady. All right. And Cindy says, so sad. Most of social media is a false narrative anyway. And I believe that. I see a lot of people that I look at the story of Doug Christie and Chris Webber. You know, it was like Doug Christie's like, man, this my daughter's godfather. Man, when she graduated from 6th grade, the graduation, he was crying. He's like, he really loved her. He really cared about us. Then next thing you know, because of medical reasons, had to do a DNA. And next thing you know, he wasn't just the godfather, he was the father.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he sued and he won. because but the daughter was like, look, that man is my father. She was
Yeah.
talking about Doug Christie.
Yeah.
And I just felt that's why you have to be mindful that some people are around you. Like Weber was Doug Christie's boy because the opportunity to be with his wife.
Which is kind of like, and you remember back when his wife was traveling with Doug Christie the whole time. Remember, he would have to throw up signs so she was in the crowd, but she
Mhm.
was she was smothering him to where she was on the team bus. And
Yeah.
now when you bring that up, I'm like, man, how would Chris Webber even? It don't even make sense. Like that whole story is just crazy to me.
Yeah, and it is, but I just tell people like we have to use that as a red flag to keep our antennas open.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, like I was telling this one dude, don't vent your marital problems to your next door neighbor.
That's right. Hmm.
Vice versa. Men or women, don't vent to your neighbor because what you don't like in a spouse, they certainly would. And if you start saying, "Oh, he don't do this," or it's opportunity. It's not
Yeah.
friendship.
Yeah.
And I just think as we approach life like that, you you know, I know there was one dude that says, I don't even no, I would never do nothing like that to you. I don't know, you know me. I said, yeah, but you a man. You know, you're a man. At the end of the day, nature calls. Everybody don't have that same discipline
That's
to
right.
like ignore or, don't text me, text my wife, ask her. So I just think that when we get to certain things, since we mentioned marriage, so can a marriage survive when one spouse is growing while the other one refuses to change?
It can survive, yes, but it's not going to thrive. No, there's going to be
Right.
separate. So I always tell my wife, there's going to be a gap. If one person's growing and one person's staying the same, there's going to be a gap. Inside that gap, things happen, and so we see it all the time. No, no,
Yeah.
there's no. It's yeah. Survive being they could stay married. Yes. Would it be a
Mhm.
healthy marriage? No, no.
Yeah, and I agree with that. There was one couple that I knew when my son was in middle school. And guys, we're at the football game, my boys are at practice and we're talking, we're chopping it up. And the one guy asked me, what you do? I'm like, retired army. And what do you do? Oh, I'm a stay-at-home dad. And I said, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, my wife makes 1.8 million a year. She the VP of this. So I was in the restaurant business. But I said, let her do that and let me take the reins. Now we fast forward 15 years later, his wife is chilling and he's running restaurants. And I see that with a lot of people. Like there was one couple me and my wife met when our son was in middle school. And while the husband was in medical school, um, the wife was going through law school. I mean, she had already graduated from law school, so
Yeah,
she was working,
yeah,
paying all the bills, but he was gonna be a doctor. Once
yeah,
he graduated from medical school, she became stay at home. She's like, I'm chilling now.
yeah,
And he takes care. Like when you're in something, like sometimes we confuse growth, on monetary.
yeah,
Like some people will, but to me, Anne and her husband Prim, they were thriving because they were a team, husband and wife. They
yeah,
weren't partners, they were husband and wife. They were holding each other down.
yeah,
And that's why I don't like to use I personally don't like the term partners because to me, if my wife calls me a partner and not a husband, to me that's degrading that's degrading. I feel is no privilege bigger than being called a husband. And I would think that there's nothing better or bigger than me calling her my wife.
Yeah.
So it's like a partner is kind of like, okay, that's transactional. That's it's business. And that those are some of the things that I think that we get it twisted because we try to relate everything to monetary, like partnerships. That's transactional. That's monetary. It's not like holding you down until you get picked up and then you hold me down. That's the reason why I don't like some of those terms um that they're trying to remove. In New York they removing, no more father and mother is gas a gastination parent, or like they coming up with all this stuff to dilute or degrade husband and wife.
Yeah.
But that's something we can talk about on another episode. But
Yeah.
I just think I just think we have to be mindful when we talk about growth. Growth doesn't always need mean monetary. And majority of people will connect that to, oh, I'm growing because I make six figures. Okay, you make 100K, but after you pay out the 35,000 in taxes, you in the 60s.
Yeah.
And then after you pay, like the big thing in the culture was, I make six figures. I make six figures. Like I know people that made six figures, but they didn't have a pot to piss in.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
they were making six figures, but they were spending like they made seven.
Correct.
Just to keep up a facade. You
Yeah.
know, so I think that when it comes to the friendships versus marriages, I think me personally, I think you do have to be a little bit more committed because your marriage was an oath, under God. It's yeah, we kicked it on the block, you my boy, but to me that doesn't we didn't become friends under God, but we became husband and wife under God. So that's why I take that so serious when it comes to people that my wife says I'm kind of like too cold. You stab me in the back, it's like flipping a switch. Like
Yeah.
I'm done. I've just gotten to the point the last few years where I'm forgiving people.
Yeah.
I don't forget, but I am forgiven. But don't get it twisted. When I see them on the street or on the block, I remember what they did. But that's something that I think we can go more into like marriage, in a different segment because I try to keep everything about an hour just to I had a lot of people as we get older, bedtime starts a little earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But is there anything that you want to reiterate on the separation of growth?
Yeah. I want people to realize how important it is. And I want people to realize relationships, they come and go. But the choice of growing, man, I'm locked in every day to get better.
Yeah,
And here's a beautiful part. You mentioned this about social media.
yeah,
I see it all, but I'm not looking at what you're doing, and I want that. If I do look at what you're doing, I can take something from it and be inspired by it. That'll be it.
mm,
But I'm not trying to create your life for me because that's going to take me off my path. My path may not
yeah,
be what your path is. And I think that's a lot of the wisdom that people are missing. They want the shiny things, not realizing what the shiny things take from you.
hmm,
And so the biggest thing is to stay true and grow in your own, just grow in your own lane.
yeah,
Figure out
definitely.
your own plan and grow in your own lane.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you sharing your time. It is not taken lightly. I have a whole lot of respect for you. Um, and before we go off, I just want to see if you want to talk about the family code and just let the viewers know and let them know where they can like follow you so they can learn more about things that you have going on?
Yeah, so the family code is new. It's something that God put on my heart recently, and I shifted my whole brand towards it because I'm tired of seeing families struggle. I'm tired of seeing every family has a code, but most of them don't have it written down. If
Mm.
you ask people, if I followed your family for a year, what would I find? And a
Yeah.
lot of us, you wouldn't find anything. So follow me on Facebook, the Family Code, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. You'll see all the branding for the Family Code. And it's just an operating system. It's a system where any family, if they want to thrive, they can follow it and they will thrive. It may not happen overnight, but I've done it. And I came from some dysfunction and I was able to do it. So can you.
Okay. I really appreciate that. And I want to ask that, the viewers, if y'all can go ahead and hit that thumbs up, feel free to share the link. If you've heard something that you feel someone else could benefit, definitely forward it to them because we just want to make sure people are informed.
Yeah.
But until then, I'll see you next week and we'll get ready to take another ride. Yeah, have a good evening.